What's up, you guys? It's your boy Miguel here to give you your daily dose of radiation. In today's video, we are covering, Miguel, are you happy being an X-ray tech? What's it like? How are you enjoying your career? So, for me personally, with the family, with the kids, I would say it was hard to make it through the program, but once I graduated, got the job, it has been pretty nice. I can't complain. And also, I guess it kind of depends on also the job and the kind of shift you get that would kind of ultimately would give you if you would be fulfilled with this career, or would be something that maybe you're just doing it as a stepping stone into getting other things, or it's just a basic, I just need a job, this is what pays well. Different avenues. For me personally, I always liked bones. I mean, if it was up to me, I would have been staring at, wanted to study and stare at dinosaur bones all day, but this is the best I could get. But I mean, there's so many options for you, like shift wise, where you can work, how you can work. There's so many ways you can adapt it for your life. For me personally, I work night shift, 7 on, 7 off. That works ideally for me with the kids. Ultimate coverage. That's helped so much with the kids being sick or whatever has to happen. Just give up a little sleep, you can get stuff done. I mean, even in the daytime, I also work daytime from time to time. With the 7 on, 7 off, that gives you a flexibility to also stack on overtime if your job has some slots. Because if you really need the break, those 7 off, which is more like 5 off technically, because the day going into work and going off to work kind of counts towards it, so it kind of eats up. But if you don't have anything going on and you just want to work a little bit more, if your job has a little slot, you have those few days to kind of work around. Obviously, some of those days you are on call, especially if you work at the hospital. So, kind of gives or takes on the flexibility. But if it's the week you're off, you could literally 7 days, as soon as you get out, you can go do whatever you want for that, especially with the families. Like, I don't have to constantly be burning PTO. I work half of the year, technically, give or take. Now, as far as like money-wise, me personally, if I would just work 7 on, 7 off, I would be okay. I have a family of 4. I would consider myself middle class. You would probably be okay. I mean, I have a truck, my lady has a car, have a mortgage, nothing crazy. You would be just okay. You would set some boundaries, a little bit of budgeting here and there, and you'd be okay. Now, obviously, if you work overtime, you could stack a little bit more money. Life could get way more better. Like, there's been a few years that I've kind of locked in for a few months here recently where I've done the crazy amount of overtime, and I've made almost an extra like $30,000 to $40,000 extra in a year, which that just catapulted my family, and as far as all the upgrades gets, like, it was significantly way more. Like, so much stuff has been like just life has become a little bit more better. Let's just say that. Like, even if I didn't have that crazy amount of overtime, because I know some people can't, or their jobs doesn't, have that kind of ability, you'll be pretty okay. I mean, pay range can vary depending on the level of trauma, where you work at, if it's mobile, so it kind of it varies. Like, I've seen all the way from, God forbid, 16 an hour, which is super slow, like low, almost disrespectful, because I feel like anyone in our profession, minimum should be 20 plus. especially in this economy and what is going on. Minimum, it should be that. But I've heard stories of it being that low in certain places, all the way to like, I mean, I've heard of like 50, even 60 if you do traveling. So it can range pretty significantly. For me personally, I'm here happily. Best decision I've made so far. My lady's a nurse, so I do have insights in other people's medical field. Seeing her and seeing all the stuff she does, a part of me feels like I did a pretty good choice, and I really don't regret it. I mean, I'm pretty happy. I mean, I know some people, like, regardless of what profession they do, they just see work as work, and it's just something you have to get done so you can provide for your family, and it's just like a task, kind of. I mean, I see techs who've been doing it several years. That's how kind of that, like, I would say at some point doing what we do, maybe just because I work in the hospital and I work in the ER and I see a bunch of like high levels of trauma and high levels of situations that happens, that you kind of get almost adapted to those levels of trauma, to where only something very, very significant can happen that you would be like, oh dang, you start to feel bad for the patient. Sometimes I get something simple and you're just like, okay, you're fine. Like, you'll X-ray and then you look at the picture and you're like, okay, it's whatever. That's the only kind of downside I've noticed over time, and I think it's almost anyone who deals with people in like taking care of other people, or just in the like trying to help or assisting people, like somewhere down the line over times and times of maybe bad patients, maybe because of the equipment of your job, slowly will get corrupt, regardless of how like pure of heart, or how like good you are, or how like slowly patients, slowly situations will kind of like chip at, like, just look at how you start the Xray career versus 5 years, 10 years, however, you'll slowly see you kind of become not corrupted like evil, but you just kind of, it just becomes, you almost become like a robot kind of, I've noticed. Because my lady, she's a nurse, and like she'll tell me what she does and like all this stuff, and because like a nursing is different, because like you interact more with the patients, you do a lot of stuff, and it's more like caring, and it's more like intimate one-on-one, and ours is just kind of churning. You just shoot them, keep pushing, and just next type of situation. So like you don't have like that bonding connection, so it's just kind of like a task, which is good and bad, because sometimes like you'll get in traumas, and if you kind of get too emotional and too like, obviously we all care and we all have like some level of like, you'll feel bad and you kind of try to empathy type of stuff, but like sometimes the patients will come in and they'll be like super messed up, and like the doctor's like, hey, I'm gonna need this and that, go get it. I need the pictures so I can, help this patient out. And I've noticed it more with the students or younger techs who've been like barely coming into the field, that they'll kind of just like, they'll kind of be like, the patients will be yelling and screaming because obviously they're hurt, and they'll kind of like freeze, or they won't know how to do or how to handle certain situations. And I've noticed that me and some of the students have talked to me, and they're like, I don't know how you do it, how you're just so comfortable, and like I just kind of like become like almost robotic, and I just know like, this is what I have to do, this is how I do it, and then you just kind of boom, 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 and then just get it done, regardless of what's going on. Which like some people see it like, oh, you're just being rude, you're not showing empathy, but like you get what is necessary so the doctor can diagnose and then get stuff done. That's what I've noticed. That, I mean, a part of me always feels bad sometimes because like you are kind of cold, but there's like certain stuff that has to be done to be able to help the patient, and sometimes the patient being in pain and in shock, they don't understand that. They just see you just being mean, especially from like the third party, from like the patient's family members. If they're there watching you and the positions you have to put them in and do stuff, some of them kind of like, it makes it seem like you're trying to hurt them, but you're not, and it's just to get a certain view, and it gets kind of sketchy and kind of gray in that field, and they kind of start acting like, you know, which is like normal to see someone, you know, like being like that. But anyways, I'm rambling on. If you're still here, I appreciate you. I post videos every single day on this beautiful field of radiology, educating those who wish to pursue the beautiful field of X-ray. And yes, been your boy Miguel. See you on the next one.